Hello, Taurus. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using this deck, and I lost the box, so I don't know the name of it. But if you do, let me know below, and I'll put it in the description. For the supportive Oracle cards, Chakram Wisdom Oracle cards. Yep. And they are by Tori Hartman, and they're illustrated by Gretchen. And there's her last name, so I don't completely butcher it. So that way, if you like those, that's what you need. Okay. Already going to go right into it. Alright, what do we got going? It's like, I feel like we're going to do a whole line right down the center. This is Taurus. You know what? It's interesting the way this is ending. There's the impatience card at the end for you. That was in Capricorn too. So it's interesting. So we'll see how that actually works out. Because Earth cards, or Earth signs, I think of as like the most, typically the most patient. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. I think of them as patient every time. The fact that that's showing up, and it showed up for you and Capricorn, and in the same spot, makes me very curious to know why that's happening. Well, we'll get to it here at the end, of course. But going into the beginning here, of course, you got two very interesting cards. You got recovery, but you got victim right behind it. Something went... Everybody can be a victim. I know that. Sooner or later, you know, we all experience that part. Something like you were taken advantage of at the very least. Now, how far that victim card goes is your own. I feel like you, I mean, obviously you know how far that goes, because some of you that feels a little violent, so I don't know how far that went. But victim going into recovery, that's how this is starting out. Like, something went wrong, you were taken advantage of, or somebody hurt you in a way that was not fair at all. Victim makes me feel like there's nothing you did to make something happen, it just happened to you. That's how that makes me feel. And the recovery is like you're picking the pieces up afterwards, you know what I mean? You got knocked down, picking yourself back up, you know. It's a long process. Now, I feel like someone else is also here with you at this time, and they're saying, all right, instead of letting life just kind of throw you curveballs, let's see how you ended up being vulnerable to this. What left you vulnerable to this moment? Somebody has the quest card here for you, and they're creating the Page of Pentacles, which is kind of like, they're like, you could have a lot more stability in this area, whatever the area is, and I think that's the interesting thing. There may be a lot of pieces of life that you're very stable with, many pieces, but whatever this was, there was a vulnerable spot here that left you open. And they're like, well, let's help you find a way to be more protected so this doesn't have to happen again, or that you could rebuild from this in a more secure way. Which I feel the normal Taurus energy that I'm used to is like, all right, yeah, I didn't see that coming. That kind of blindsided me. I don't want that happening again. What else can we do to protect? What else can I do to protect myself? Page of Pentacles is like a slow start. This is good. This is really good, because it's kind of like, all right, you need to be convinced that this is going to work. All right, you have a good plan. All right, that kind of makes sense. I need to see some evidence. I need to try it and feel it out for myself. I have to see how this is going to work. Very, very good. You just need some evidence that this is a good plan. Quest card here right with it. Someone's trying to help you work it out, finding a better plan. This is a really rough start. Like, ooh, Taurus, that's a rough start. That really is. I'm almost wondering if it's also kind of like a medical thing, because I kept getting that with Capricorn. I'm just not getting it here. I'm questioning it, but I'm not getting it with this, but let's keep going. All right, so someone's guilty. This is a really, really interesting reading here. It feels very specific, but we'll see. In the environment, there's a guilty party. Now, we're not talking about the quest card. Like, whoever that was in the environment, that's someone trying to help you. That's great. Also, something around you, there's a guilty party. Like, whatever that victim feel is, someone's at to blame. Like, it's like somebody, like, set out to cause problems. And it's like finding out how you were the target. How did you end up being the target? Like, how did that happen? There's a guilty party here. Like, there's literally somebody with guilt. And I'm getting here, like, there's a lot of impatience about, like, what happened and why. The guilt is coming forward. Like, there's no contemplating. There's no, like, how do I... The Four of Cups reversed. Like, if you see Four of Cups, this is right side up. Like, there's something in front of you that you don't really want. Whatever. Reversed, though, is kind of like... The way this is feeling, it's kind of like you want the truth, but you don't like what it is. You want the truth, you don't like what it is. That just cut and dry, that's all there is. Destiny is on your side, kind of like... Oh, I feel like this is rough. For those of you this is really hitting with, it's kind of like, this is one of those moments where this, it's kind of like this was pushed in front of you to help you grow. I don't know. It's kind of, Destiny is saying, like, no, this was meant to happen. You're meant to survive this. You're meant to overcome this. You will overcome this. To what level you overcome it, you know, that's another thing. It's kind of like, how do I put this? You're gonna succeed, but are you gonna slide by with, you know? Are you just gonna slide by, or are you gonna get, you know, AAA plus? It's up to you how well you get through this. You will get through this. You will succeed. You will get past this. But are you gonna make it through just by a passing grade, just sliding by the skin of your teeth, or are you gonna go for that AAA plus? Whew, it doesn't feel easy to me, because it feels like whatever this is, it's not easy. This whole situation feels really heavy to me. Like, it's really, like, that's a lot to ask of anybody. Like, okay, keep going. I don't want to get, like, mired down in it, because it feels like it's sucking me in. So we're going to keep going. Now, the Tower card comes in next. This is kind of not at all expected. Not at all expected, because it's a Tower card, but what's right below it is impartial. Or what does it say? Impartiality. Partiality, if I can spit it out. Someone's just looking at the bare bones facts. And it's kind of like, I feel like it's something like, if you were in a car wreck, they're like, well, you were in the car, you were going this direction at this speed, the other person was going this direction at this speed, they had the red light, they hit you. And they're just leaving it at that. What they're not adding in, this is the impartiality. It's kind of like who this person was, why they targeted you, and how they were, like, looking to literally hurt somebody. I feel like that's the problem. Like, they were, like, I feel like it was somebody out of control. If anybody hits that car analogy, I feel like the other person literally was looking to hurt someone. But that's not being factored in here, and that's the shock. Because somebody is literally guilty. Like, they created this with purpose. That's what I'm feeling. Now, the shock is the impartiality, because kind of like, this isn't fair. It just doesn't feel like the way this is working out. To me, it doesn't feel fair. I don't feel like that's... Like, impartiality is supposed to be a balance card. I just feel like it's kind of like looking at something without putting emotion into it. Like, emotion is a factor. You know, if somebody... Like, emotion is the intent behind something. And if somebody's looking to hurt somebody else and the emotion behind it has a lot to do with it. I don't know. I just feel like... I feel like it's cutting it down to just the... what's on paper. Like, nobody's feelings, nothing like that. Like, why it happened. Like, what motivated this person to do that. I just feel like it just feels a little unbalanced to me. It doesn't feel right. And it's odd, because that's literally a balanced type card. Weird. Keep going. We're going to keep going. Alright, so... On your side, you have insecurity, because you're feeling like, this isn't right. Like, that's not right. Like, I mean, you're getting, like... You are getting, like, the damages are paid for. Any hospital bills, for example, if it was a car accident, are getting paid for. You're getting some, like... But it's just, like, just the bare bones. It seems like just... It literally just feels like the bare bones. Like, oh, all right, we're just going to do this. Oh, you don't need that. You can have this. Like, you're not getting as much as... To me, I know it says impartiality, and it should be a balance card. And, all right, let's be fair. I'm connecting to Taurus energy. I'm feeling that the way you're feeling about it anyway, with the insecurities, like, it didn't work out fairly. It doesn't feel like the end result was fair. It doesn't feel like it. Because I have a friend like this. Like, they were in a car accident. It destroyed their life. And they got compensation for their medical bills, they got compensation for their vehicle, but their life was destroyed. They couldn't live their life the same way anymore because of the injuries and the long-term effect of the injuries, but they got no compensation for that. I'm not even sure the details of it, but that's what this feels like. It's basically like it threw your life right all upside down. The technical pieces, like the medical bills and the vehicle, were paid for, but that's it. Meanwhile, your life is in shambles. And you're like, how is that fair? All right. I know this is the Nine of Pentacles, but that's the energy I'm feeling. I feel like there's more that has to come from this afterwards. This isn't the end of the fight, though, for you. I feel like that's the thing. This isn't the end of the fight. No, because we got more. We definitely have more here. Nine of Pentacles is kind of like, you do get some benefit from this. You get like the needed benefit right off the bat. The Nine of Pentacles is in the actual action line, though. So I don't feel that you're not completely satisfied, but at first you might think that's all you're going to get from the situation. Renewal is in the environment, though, and I feel like renewal is saying that's just the first battle. The war has not been won. The war is not over. That's just the first battle. Well, maybe not even the first battle, just to be fair, but that's just one of the battles in the war. The war is not over. That's what I'm getting with renewal, like it's going to come around again. Woo! Taurus, you got some stuff going on here. Okay, but the thing is, the fact that the war is not over, that's the Three of Swords reversed for you. That's the release from heartbreak. Because you're like, my life is a shambles, just as the analogy. My life is a shambles, and this is not being compensated for. This isn't fair. When you realize the war is not over, that was just one of the battles, you're like, wait a minute, I have hope now. The release from sorrow is hope in the way I read it. And then you get the Hermit card on your side. You're like, all right, what do I need to do now? Because this isn't right. I'm not going to let this happen to me like this. I'm not going to let this happen. But this is also another piece of this kind of saying, this is up to you how far you take it. Are you going to slide by the skin of your teeth, or are you going for that AAA+? Which is, there's a lot of ways to take that. You got to decide how involved, how far you're going to fight this, and how far you should fight this. That's a big thing with Taurus. In Earth signs in general. Once you start in that mode where you're like, I'm going to fight for myself, and you get a goal, it's kind of being hyper-focused on that goal. And the trick is to keep the blinders off. Don't have the blinders on. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Is me going and driving towards this goal improving my life and improving the life of the people around me? Or is me driving towards this goal so hard causing me detriment and the people around me detriment? That's the trick with the earth, all the earth signs, in my opinion. That actually happens for the water signs too sometimes, I think. But, take it with a grain of salt. I love that saying, Where's this going next? There's a lot of delays. There's constant delays. Constant delays, constant delays, constant delays. It gets moving, then it stops. Seems like it goes back, then it goes forward. Then it stops, then it goes, then it stops. And there's no tempo to it. You can't depend on anything to happen at the right time. Is it going to work this time? Is it not? How far do we have to take this? What do we have to do now? This is the irregularity of it all is going to cause this impatience. I was going to say imbalance, but impatience. That makes better sense. It's going to bother you, and you're going to be very impatient with it because you're like, is it going to move forward or is it not? Is it stagnant or is it not? Did it just go backwards? Wait a minute, how do we get back forwards? You can't really get a handle on what is happening here. There's no rhythm. There's no rhythm, and it's really that's going to make you impatient. That makes sense to me because it's if you knew I just got to wait it out and it keeps going slowly but surely. Oh, all right. Not about liking it or not, but if at least you knew that'd be one thing. You could pace yourself and deal with it. But it's just very irregular. Very, very, very irregular. That's the impatience here. It's very obnoxious. In the actual action line, self-worth, completion, and the Seven of Pentacles, I don't feel it feels like a never-ending story. When I'm seeing the Seven of Pentacles, it makes me feel like, especially when it's right next to completion, it's kind of saying there's really no completion. It's almost like you're going to have like certain compensation for the rest of your life. It's like you're going to have a certain, there's going to have to be like a certain compensation over there, like every month you're going to get an X amount of money for the rest of your life. There's going to be no lump sum. There's just going to be X amount of dollars every month, X amount of dollars every month, X amount of dollars every month. And it just keeps going. I don't know why I'm doing this, but it just feels like it just keeps going, like X amount of dollars every month. It just keeps rolling along that way. That's the completion. There's going to be like a repetitious payout is what I'm feeling, something like that. So it's weird to have completion next to the Seven of Pentacles, because Seven of Pentacles is constant work, constantly going forward. It just never seems to truly complete, and that's actually the completion. Like, this is the end result, is that it's never going to complete. It's just going to always keep going little by little, constant little payouts. It just never really ends. And the self-worth is saying, getting this to a point where, you know, it's not driving you crazy anymore, and just kind of like, if it's these constant little payouts, like how long does that need to go before you feel satisfied? For some of you, it feels like you're going to have something where you just get compensation every month, and you just got to set it up that way, and that's what it is, and just leave it be. It's just realizing that that's all it's going to be, and just once you realize that's what it is and that's pretty much it, moving forward with your life after that. Because I feel like there's a lot of you going to be like, this is my end goal. Again, we're going to, like, this is my end goal. I want this. Like, if we're going to do it in a money way, X amount of dollars, right? But what happens is you get like piece by piece by piece by piece by piece. And then just realizing that's what I'm going to get. Once that's stabilized, if you can stabilize it, just being happy with that and letting go of that other goal and being like, well, this is going to have to be the goal. This is going to have to sustain me, because otherwise it's going to drive me mad, and it's going to drive the people around me mad. There's faith in the environment, which other people are rooting for you, which is good. Okay, the trick with this is have the wisdom to like really look at how this is affecting you and affecting the people around you that you care about. How is this affecting you? How is it affecting those people if you keep going the way you're going, or if you kind of settle off to the side? Because there's going to be people cheering you on, kind of like, keep going, but it may not be serving you. So you're going to have to step back, have your own thoughts all by yourself. Even if you have somebody you really care about and trust, and you know they care about and trust about you, that's great, that's cool. But you need a moment just to yourself where you just sort through your own thoughts on your own, and like, how do you really view the situation? How do you really think it's affecting other people? How's it really making you feel? That's going to help you determine whether you should keep going towards that end goal, or kind of like say, all right, this is working. It's not the ideal way I wanted this to work out, but this will work. I'm going to let this be, and I need to let this go so I can have sanity back in my life. That's it. All right, I think we're good. Thank you for watching. I hope that helps. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.